This conversation is, just about right considering what St. Louis is going through with constant contact and constant surveillance of what's going on in Normandy. The book is called The End of Absence, Reclaiming What We've Lost in a World of Constant Connection. Michael Harris, welcome to KTRS here in St. Louis.
Thank you.
What's the idea of the book?
Well, I was working as an editor at a magazine, and I was basically, like a lot of office workers, just overloaded with digital content. I had 2 computer screens. I had my phone going off all the time. And I ended up thinking, this is not my life. And I took a step away. I took a month off from the internet, a month off from my cell phone, and just started trying to figure out what was that quality of absence and solitude that I cared about in my childhood, and how could I get back to that?
And so you spent a month without your cell phone. Could you exist?
Yeah.
Did you survive? Were you fired? How did it work?
Well, I mean, I went through withdrawal symptoms, I guess, for the first couple weeks. I actually had dreams about text messages and emails, and I'd say my friends, my family, they had trouble really figuring out how to be in touch with me, even though I still had my landline and they still could knock on my door. It was a good example of how we had become so reliant on texting or emailing that we didn't really know how to connect after we left it.
Yeah.
So in the world of this constant communication, are we really communicating?
Yeah, this is a really good point. We know that teenagers today have become almost afraid or uncomfortable with voice-to-voice phone calls, with even face-to-face things. We dive into the phone because it becomes safer, but it's safer because it's easier, it's simpler, it's a reductionist kind of way of communicating. It's not, even just us talking on the phone right now, there's all kinds of information that we're getting from each other just by hearing the quality of our voice. And each time we make communication easier, we often are stripping it of inflections and meaning too.
Watching what's going on here in St. Louis with the citizen journalists, everyone has a cell phone, everyone's got a picture, everyone's got a video, and I quite frankly think this is going to be studied for years in journalism classes because it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. The cameras are there because the people are there. The people are there because the cameras are there. And all of a sudden now we're part of the story. And the main story of a man shot is now long lost. This is just the way it's going to be going forward.
No, I think it's a really good example of the ways that technology it's neither good nor bad, right? But it's not neutral either. On the plus side, you're right. There's citizen journalism. It gives voice to those who don't have a voice, and that's crucial. It's so important to democracy and to having our society move forward. However, we have to also remain cognizant of the fact that instant communication makes instant judgment, and it means that we're making decisions before we actually know what's going on. It means we're making a Wikipedia page about a shooting before all the facts are really understood. And it doesn't leave room for sober reflection. And I think that's something to keep in mind while we make news stories out of Twitter feeds.
Yeah. I'm sure after the month, you've now back full-fledged on your iPhone and your Twitter feed and everything, or have you at least figured out a way to sort of live in both worlds?
Yeah, I had a kind of, let's say, a binge when I went back online. I had hundreds of emails waiting for me, and I became actually a really bad boyfriend for about a day when I went back online, because I was just like, I was a robot staring at my computer. And actually being that bad boyfriend and the fight that it led to was a kind of a wake-up call to remind me, if I'm going to be online, if I'm going to be connected, I have to do this in a smart way. I have to make decisions every day for my whole life about when to leave the phone at home and when I don't need to check my email. So and that's played out still. Like a year later, like I leave my phone at home all the time, and sometimes I'll have an impulse to check my email while I'm waiting in line at the grocery store, and I won't. And it's little things like that slowly are that's a way of like trying to rewire my brain back to where I want it.
It's a really interesting this interview, this book, this conversation is taking on new meaning today than it would have 4 days ago. I think to me and to the listeners, only because of what we're now living through in this bizarro world of instant information that is so wrong and so right all at the same time.
Yeah. It's. I mean, I'm not there, so I
Sure.
can't really speak to what it feels like on the ground. But you know, I mean, this is part of what television did for people a generation ago, right? I mean, there's a reason that I mean, Vietnam was the first televised war, I think,
Right.
and that changed the way people saw war. And I think that Twitter, in a small way, does the same thing. It changes the way that we see riots. It changes the way that we see social injustices. And I think that is it's powerful, but we also always have to remember when we are looking at things through a different technology, that is a different goggle that we've put on in front of our eyes. Every technology changes the way you see the world.
It's powerful and dangerous all at the same time. The book is called The End of Absence, Reclaiming What We've Lost in a World of Constant Connection. Michael Harris, good luck with the book. Thanks for checking in.
Thank you.
You got it. 845, Big 550.